a bunch of tools to show you too. I dug into one of my safes and tons of tools. So this here is for measuring pivot holes. So you can see number 28 is gone. I don't know why I lost 28, but I lost 28. So if I have to find a jewel that's 0.28, 0.28, yeah, 0.28 millimeters in width. So these are the jewels. So if I look at them, look at this way here. So you can see 58 is pretty big. Normally when I'm building balance staffs, I'm up at 10 or 11 or 12 up here. But I'm sure that the actual pivot for this fourth wheel is probably around this one of these sizes here. I could measure it, I guess. I'm going to eyeball it first and then see if I can use a ruler. I'm not sure if I can or not. I don't know if there's enough room to use a ruler. Perhaps not. Not sure. I don't know. It's not 50. That's way too big, right? So if I were to put 50 through here, what would happen? You know what? It's not too far off. The problem is I can't use this tool to go down to test this because all this material rises it up. So it's of no use. So I would have to either trial test this, right, which is probably what I'll end up doing, or put the face back on and find a watch. So I guess I could measure this. I guess I could measure this wheel with a very small micrometer, right? Like if I were to take my battery operated micrometer, right, and just squeeze that down, this one here, would that give me a number? That's the question, right? I think I lost the battery for it. Yeah, the battery is gone, folks. Oh, there's the battery. I think this is the battery right here. So if I take this back and let me just put the camera up so you can see the nonsense I'm up to. Throw the battery in here like that there, and then put the top back on. How that works, I do not know, but I think I just have to push the battery down like that and do that. So there we go. So all I do here is I want to just squeeze that part, right? So if I go down like this and I hit, it's in millimeters right now, and I just hit 0. So I zero that. You just hit 0 in the end like that. And I open that up. Is that going to give me enough fidelity for a reading? That's the question. That is the question. So we go there and it says 0.3 millimeters. 0.3 millimeters. Now that might not be enough fidelity. So you do that again and it is at 0, so that's a good sign. And then you open it up again and then squeeze that, and so we're looking at 0.3 millimeters. So what I can do now, let me just turn this off, is I can get my pin gauges out and I get some watch hands out and start playing. So just hang on 1 second while we set this up. Just take a rubber band and put it in the back end of this micrometer and put your battery on it. Take your battery out because it'll kill the battery if you leave it in there. So here I found my assorted second hands. I got tons of parts, I just forget where they are. You don't want to get Alzheimer's as a watchmaker, by the way. So I've got all these parts. So I think these second hands down here, the cool thing about these is they're all labeled. So the pipe is labeled on them. So 26 100s, 25 100s, 24, all the way down to 16. So that was 3, right? So these still might be too small, because if I took a 26 out of there and tried to put it on this size 18, it's likely too small. Yeah, 25, 26. So I can show you that. Let's just take the 26 out for a second. So we're going to just grab the biggest one that's in here. Very carefully grab it. See if I can grab this without breaking anything. Of course, you don't want to bend it when you're grabbing it. You just want to do that, pull it out. Put everything aside like this, bring the watch out, and all I want to do is lean it on that pipe to see if it's really far off. Well, I can actually look at it, so I can look at it like that, and I can see the pipe, and I can see the I can see the end of this here, and it looks like it's too small. Now I can broach that bigger. I know how to do that, and I want to make sure that when this sits in here on the dial, that's not stupid big, right? So that's actually almost a perfect size for this dial, right? Which is nice. It's bent up a bit probably because of the way I grabbed it. So I'll have to bend it down a bit, but it's a bit too small. I can dump this on the mat. It's a bit too small for this, I'm sure. So let me just put it on top of a piece of Rodico here. Rodico is used for everything. Without Rodico, I am nothing. So I think this hand is a bit too small, but I can have a look really quickly by sticking it on the Rodico and then just putting it down on top of this. Yeah, that's not even close. Like I told you, it said it said 0.3 and this is 0.26, so it obviously is not going to fit. So we could put this back into this paper here. Try not to bend it again. I may have to use tweezers to do this. One thing is, if you're laughing while you're doing watch work, your parts are going to fly around. So just a shout out to I Shoot Watches, and if he's watching my video, and a big shout out to good old Sonny Morehouse, who's a pretty cool dude. And let me see if I can get this thing back in place here. Doesn't seem to want to go back in. Come on, get in there. I may just do this later. Lutherhausen. There we go. I got it in. And now the pipe would go down into the hole here. So there we go. Now it's back in place. I just had to bend it. So that's these. So these are not going to work. Wonderful, as they say, right? So that's a failure. These here are a little bit bigger, I think. But I do think these ones here, these are also, you probably trim them in size to get them to fit. It seems like a lot of material there, but look at the size of these things. I think they would look stupid on the watch because they're so big, unless I trimmed them down incredibly, right? And these are more, I think, of the same. And I can broach these on, which I may have to do. So those, and I have some here, which might work. I don't know. Let's dump these and have a look. I was in the collect secondhands mood a couple of years ago. I think I was looking for a secondhand, went on eBay and started buying everything. So I bought all the secondhands. I'm not sure whether these ones are too big or too small or just the size of Montreal. I could use my pin vise to check the end of these first, but let me just no, not close. And again, the size of these in here That's not too bad. So those might be broachable, right? Those might be broachable because they fit nicely in there. So I could try to broach them to a bigger size, which means I got to get out my broaching tool and get to work, right? That is the option, the broaching option. I'm going to try this one right here and see if this is going to be. No. Even when I look at it like this, it looks too small. But it absolutely looks like I can broach this on. So I'm going to put this over in the side as a potential for broaching. And I'm going to put these ones back into the jar. I also have a jar full of these things as well, but none of these seem to be the right size, so we're going to go try to broach something. Alright, here we have a set of pin gauges. These are my favorite little pin gauges here. And if I look at the pin gauges here, this is the 3 one that we said earlier was likely the right size for this watch. And here's what it looks like up close. There it is there, so that's the pivot size. And if I look at the 3 here and I just poke that into the watch second hand here, I know I think it's too big. Actually, it looks like it's going in. I'm just going to have a look at the actual movement in this. Just going to take a look at the actual watch movement, and I'm going to put the pin gauge next to it and just eyeball it for a second and see if that makes any sense. It looks like it's a little bigger than 3. Let me go to 3.2. I'm just taking this and then having a look at it. Just move this out of the way here. I'm just going next to where the pivot is, and I'm just kind of comparing the size here to see if it's close. Rodico. Yeah, that looks more like the right size, because I know that this here, so I stick this pin gauge down on this. So I think this is like really close to the right size, this particular seconds hand. So let me see if I can broach this in any way. So if you look on the left hand side, you can see I have a million brooches here. So these are files actually, but there's a million very small brooches I have. And then in my case, my broaching stuff, I've got like all of these brooches here. So I bought out a bunch of brooches once. So there was a brooch sale, I think. So Cutting Reamers France. So I've also have Cutting Reamers France. Look at that. And here they are here. So you can ream out with these as well. I can use these things right here as reamers, and you'd want to find one that's super small because you're going to have to go inside the hand of that watch hand, right, the pipe. So, and then broach that out. So there's also a device for holding the hand. So here are the brooches, like I said before, but the first thing I need to do is secure the hand. The hand! You have to secure the hand. So let me get my block out here for a second. And this device here is what's used for broaching hands. So I'm not sure whether the very small one on the end will work, but I know that this is device, that's what it's for, broaching hands. So you can put the hand down on this device here like that, and then you close down both sides like this, and now I've got this hand inside. You can sort of see the hole. There's the hole that needs to be broached, and then this thing swings out like this. Now I find that this doesn't hold it really well, so I think that the solution is always to get a rubber band, like All things are solved with rubber bands. So let me grab myself a rubber band here. I don't need a very strong one, just one like that, and then curl that around here a few times just to keep this in place. And I'll take this off after. So there we go. That's now in place. Now, I just need to broach it just ever so slightly. So, and I think I need to find the smallest broach I have that's not going to widen it too much. Now, for my broaching set here, I have this broach right on the end that's pretty darn small, but I also have this one here that's pretty darn small. So I've got two broaches from this broaching set that might work, but let me look at the other broaches I had. And I've got the Swiss broaches as well, the Swiss ones. So I got some here that are really small, and I like the grip on them. So this brooch right here seems teeny weeny. So this brooch here is nice. Now the brooches are tapered, so when you start, sometimes what I do is I'll take a red marker and just mark how deep the brooch has gone in, and then I can see how far I've gone in with the brooch. So you want to start broaching from the pipe side. So whatever side the pipe is on, that's where you start broaching. So I'm going to have a look down into the hole here and figure out which side the pipe is on first. So having a quick peek at this, it looks like this is the pipe side is right here. So I want to stick that brooch into the hole. And I'm under camera. There we go. So the brooch is now in the hole. You can see that it's centered, and it's also sticking out the other side. You can see that a little bit on the bottom. So that's in the hole and centered. So now all I need to do is twist that brooch. Twist that brooch. So there's the brooch there. I grab this thing here and I twist it. And that will widen the size of the hands. So, and I'm just keeping an eye on the hands. They're squeezed in here, but you don't want to break them off. So, and you may not need to broach much material off it. So I'll pull that out, stick that in my mat for a second, take my rubber band off like that, and then just dump the part. If you try to fancy it out with tweezers or anything else, you're going to screw it up. So just dump it down, and as you can see, it dumped it nicely. There's the hands. And now I'm going to have a look here and see if I took too much material off. But let me have a look and show you what it looks like first. Right there it is there, and it's slightly broached by moi. And I still don't know if that's broached enough to actually fit on the pivot here, which is the fourth pivot of this pocket watch. So I'm just going to turn it around like this and try to get it to sit on top. You know what? It looked like it was almost fitting there. May you live in interesting times. Flatten that out a bit and do it this way. I just don't know if it's been broached enough. Yeah, you can see it going around a bit, but I think there's still more material that needs to be taken off of this thing. Not much more though, holy crap. I might be able to push it on with this much material. But I'll broach it one more time. So once again, get the watch out of the way so you don't drop stuff on it. Get the pivot or the hand out here like this. And I can lay it flat like this. Is that a problem? Is that the smallest hole? Yeah. Lay it flat like that. And it's sort of sitting over the hole right now. And just lower the top part. Like that. And so I've got it in there now. and I got my brooch right here. I just have to line that up properly. It's funny, I do have a device for holding that brooch when twisting, but it might not be necessary. And this time I'm just going to use this little metal loop here and hold it to try to hold that in place, and then twist it. It's kind of moving around. It feels kind of stuck here, but just move it around a bit. It's not easy. It's not an easy job. And if you screw it up, basically you got to go get another hand. And I find one thing that can happen with this is it can actually, the hand can twist inside of the holder here, which makes it even more difficult to actually turn the brooch to remove material. So the other thing is, if you move in a single direction, like clockwise or whatever, it's not going to get as jammed up. Just a few recommendations here. So I just pull that out, stick the brooch in my mat, and then dump the part like that. And now I've got the part again, and I just want to make sure that the hands didn't bend at all, and they look pretty good, because they can actually bend as you're trying to broach, right, which is not good. So we get down here like this with the camera. I got both cameras on right now, so there, both cameras are running for full audio visual effect here. So I'm just going to put this like this. Again, I don't know how much material I took off. I do know that I'm farting around here and it's not working, so just grab it again from the side and then see if I can put this down on top. It's super close to being the right size, but it doesn't have to be off much for it not to work. Not much at all. So I'm going to keep working on that. So now you kind of know the technique, but you just keep working and working and working until that brooch, until it's the right size hand, and then I'll put the face back on. It might actually be easier to actually put the second hand on with the face on, because I can just tip it sideways and then fit it down. So I'm going to try that, because the second hand stands up pretty high, right? The pivot for the fourth wheel. But if I put this down like this, right? Where's that pivot, folks? Where's the pivot? There it is there. So if I put the watch together again, and I put this down like this, see if the hands can, the watch, the dial feet can find home. There we go. Like that. So if I have it like that, and then I take the hand like this, and I can take the hand and just lean it sideways. Lean her sideways like that. And then I'm able to just lean it over the hole, right? Which is a lot easier, I think, than I'm able to do this and then just push it over and then push down and see if it's fitting. And see it's not fitting. So that's a lot easier for me to do it this way. So I'm going to tighten the dial up and keep going. I also think that this pin vise is actually used for holding the hands to broach them, because I put this in the pin vise, squeeze it up, and it's not super tight, but I'm able to turn this on the top to work it. I'll just try to show a close-up of this as I work it. Just holding this very lightly and turning it like this. And that's broaching material off. Just be very patient when you're doing this. And then when I'm finished doing it, let's say I'm finished, I pull the brooch out like that. Just put it somewhere where it's not going to jab you. And in this particular device, you just pull down on the ring here nice and carefully, and then dump the you dump it just like before. And now to test this, just pick that up and put it over the top here like that. But as you can see, it's kind of leaning on the pivot. I got to get in close a bit here. I might be able to push it over here. Not quite. Need to lean it the other way. Lean a horn. I can see where it's been broached though, for sure. Now if I took off too much material, I might be able to just stake the pipe a bit. I'm going to take some more material, needs to come off of this. It's still not going on. Still need to take some more material off of this, so let's keep working on it. And the third way of broaching is just to hold the very small part in your fingers, like so, very lightly, like that, and turn the brooch. Just make sure the brooch is in deep enough to not stab your finger. It's actually not a bad way of doing it because it kind of holds the part in place nicely, and you can work it with your hands. So this is kind of the human touch. I'm looking to see how deep this thing is going to go. If I was super anal retentive, right? So there it is there. I would probably put that mark on the brooch and then ride it up. But I'm just kind of eyeballing where the brooch is right now and just turning it to cut material. So just keep cutting very gently. And the funny thing, well, not funny, but the funny thing is if you go too far, you can just kind of tap it a bit, but it's not easy. So I'm just going to take it out now, stick the brooch on my map, take the part, and grab it. And you'll see where I've got the part here, and I've got the watch again. And I'm just going to put this down here. I know it's really close, but I don't want to go too far. Nope, got to do a bit more. Anyway, I'm going to keep playing with it. I'll be back. So with one of my customers' watches, I'm going to just see if I luck out, and I'm just able to push a second hand right on there. Look at that, folks. That's called luck. Okay, so luck sometimes is better than anything. So when I look at this second hand, it's dragging a little bit, but I can just take my screwdriver, put it underneath lightly, and then twist, and that'll bring the hand up from the. I can do that, or I can take it out and then try to bend it, but that might be tougher to do. So this technique tends to work. And we look and see if I'm good. I think it's free of that. I'll let it run and see if it just keeps running. So there. So I was able to find a second hand for this watch. I may take it off and trim it, but I just dumped a bunch of hands and bam. Second one I tried fit, or was that the first one? So that's just dumbass luck, folks. Let's get broaching with the size 18 one. And there we go. That hand fit on actually perfectly. No broaching required. Absolutely fine. Perfect snugness. Just a lot of luck. And look at how that hand reaches right out to where the indices are, which is perfect. So let's get back to the hard job with this Waltham. Once I'm just going to hold this in my fingers like that and start twisting the brooch. Find if I twitch it a little bit faster, it doesn't get stuck. And this is kind of what it looks like doing this from this angle. I'm trying to show you what it looks like here. Again, you don't want to take material off super fast. I know you've seen me working on this now for the last little while, but if you take it off too fast, you can't put it back on again. So take a bit off, take the brooch out, throw the part down on the watch, and then see if it fits. Let's try this again. I'm going to just push it on just a bit. Man, I really think it's getting close. I really think it's getting close. So just weave the brooch into the hole here. And you see how far down that's going. I'm keeping kind of a visual on how far down that is going. So when I'm doing this, try not to jab my hand here. I'm not going too far in too fast. So just broaching it like this. Let's move my camera up just a bit for you guys. And I know this is not that exciting, but this is watchmaking, man. You've got to be patient and you've got to work at it, and eventually you've got success. So you just keep doing that. And again, if I'm not under camera, I'm likely doing it faster. Now the brooch is tapered, and the hole then becomes tapered, and that whole taper hole is necessary to actually for the part to actually stick on the pivot, because if it wasn't tapered, how the heck would you get it on? So take a bit more material off, throw it down on the movement, go like this. It's going to be a long video, you guys can fast forward it. It's going to go from not fitting to fitting in 1 millisecond, right? Man, it's close. It's so close. All right, I'm going to keep working at it. I'll be right back till it fits. All right, continuing to work the part. You can see how deep I am now. I'm getting pretty deep into this brooch, so I don't want to run out of brooch. That would not be good. So I'm going to just keep working it like this. And like I said, it's metal, right? So you're not going to be able to get a lot of play on it. So when it fits, it fits. And you don't want to overdo it, like I said before. So I'm just kind of working it. And I really don't know when it's going to fit. Just kind of take a little more material off of it. And then when you just when you want to do a little bit more, you stop. You stop, throw the part down. Because the minute you say, okay, I'll just do a bit more, that's when you take too much material off. Geez, I can tell the way it's rounding onto the pivot. There, you see that? It's almost the right size. So that's just sitting on the pivot right now. It needs to come off. Not going to take much pressure to pop it off, but that is almost the right size. So I'm getting so close. And I'm just going to let this thing keep running because I know it's aggravating, but this is for the guys out there that are watchmakers, not the people watching the monkey pick its butt and trying to make $1 million. So these are for watchmakers, not monkey butt picking people. And I'm just going to keep turning this and try to take a little bit more material off of it because it's so close. I'm keeping an eyeball between the distance between the bottom of that pipe and right there to make sure I've got enough. So I can kind of gauge how deep I'm going into the part, and then by doing that, I can gauge whether I'm getting close to success or not. I know when I started this, I started with this part way back here as I broached it in. So it's a very fine broach that I have here. It's a fine and dandy. All right, try again here. Wow, I mean, this is so close. Just putting a tiny bit of pressure on the top, and it's kind of staying on, which means that it's just at the cusp of fitting properly. I'm trying to do this too without screwing up the part. So again, being very mindful of how far up the pipe I'm going with this broach. I know I got to go a little bit further, but not too far. As I'm turning this, I'm pushing just a bit to take off material. You can see how far up that pipe I am now. Now, if I wasn't on camera, I'd probably be working faster. But I make these videos for you watchmakers out there that appreciate the amount of labor that it takes to actually do the job. It's not easy, okay? I've broached hands before. It's been a while since I've actually had to broach hands because you only do it when the customer actually gives you a watch without hands. And you're like, okay. Oh, wow, that is super close. Now, if I can push this down, we're done. Not quite. Not quite. Just so close. It's on there, as I can see, but it needs to go a bit deeper. A bit deeper. Now, you see how that progressed, eh? I probably will call this video broaching watch hands and then end it after I get the thing fitted, because there's no other name for that I can pick that makes any sense. So I'll just take more material off it here. I want this part to go down deeper onto the pivot, so I'm just going to try to get it close to the end here. All right, that's enough. It's enough because I know I'm very close right now, so extremely close. Wow, right? W-O-W. Weight on wheels. I want to bend this up just a bit too. Trying to bend it up a bit so it doesn't hit the face, but that might be it. There we go. Now I'm looking at it from the side. It's kind of bent upward a bit, right? So I want that thing to be down a bit. So I think I can probably adjust that on a staking set. I just want to twist it, but I don't want to ruin the pipe. But there it is. there's the second hand on. If my other hand's right over the top of that second hand nicely, I may not have to bend it at all. So this thing just would have to go down a bit on this side here, right? And sometimes you can just push it down and it works, and sometimes not so much. But I could take a slight bit more material off of this, but I'm not going to for now. That's good enough, which means what I need to do, because I've got the face on here, and I'll get the fingerprints off the face later, but I need to tighten these dial screws. And the watch is just running away like crazy, like it knows what it's doing. I've got three dial screws I need to tighten, here and here. And I'm going to put my fingers down here, but I'm going to clean it off with Rodico after, here and here, and then right here. And let me look at that hand again. Yeah, that could go down a bit more. I could take that off and push it down just a bit more. So I'll take that off and do that. But that's how you broach a hand. See, it's up a little bit too high there. But that's how you broach a hand. So thanks for watching my videos. I'll produce this right now. And I'm JD, and welcome to my channel. And I did a lot of things before I got to this position here. But I hope you enjoyed today's video.